Welcome to the Gynergy Effect, where energy meets intention and transformation begins.
We're your hosts, Garin and Yesi, partners in life, love, and purpose.
Here to share the tools, truth, and stories that helped us build a life from the inside out.
Whether you're seeking deeper health, conscious relationships, or your next level of purpose,
you're in the right place. Welcome to the Gynergy Effect, episode 4. We are so excited for you to be here with us. Today we are talking about something that's so near and dear to our heart, our baby, something that came from our mind that we're inspired with, and we created into reality, and that is...
Date zero.
I love it. Date zero, you say. What is date zero and why is that important?
So the premise of date zero is that before you can show up fully in love, leadership, relationships, and purpose, you have to come home to yourself. That's the whole premise of date zero. Date zero is essentially a date with yourself. It's a 45-day immersive journey of self-discovery, of gratitude, of service, and transformation to come home to yourself, to your essence.
And why were we inspired to do that? What does that matter? This 45-day journey to connect with yourself, to really be in alignment with your goals and your vision for your life. What is it that inspired us for that?
So if you listened to our last episode, we briefly touched on that. And Date Zero was inspired by the 8 Dates book that we read together by John Gottman. The whole premise is that before you can date someone, you have to date yourself and work on building the most important relationship. So it was inspired by these 8 days that we went on together. And after going on these 8 dates, we discovered that really what most people are struggling with is the relationship with themselves and really understanding what their values are, what their non-negotiables are, and really what their purpose is. So we created Date Zero as a system to guide people towards finding themselves, getting clarity on their purpose, and creating a structure for them to give back and be of service.
Yeah, no, that's so powerful because I know the other premise of it too is I would have never been in a position to create the relationship that we have developed together if I didn't do that work
and vice
first.
versa.
And I went through a path of just going to the depth of hell in my life and in this process of just coming to these realizations about so many things, about who I am as a person, the childhood trauma that I've been through and how that impacts me now, and really understanding why that matters and doing that self-work. And if I didn't do that stuff before I entered into our relationship and I wasn't intentional about our relationship and we didn't do that 8 Dates book, if I didn't work on myself first, I wouldn't have been able to show up for you in the way that you desire to have the relationship that is so important to us and that we're intentional about now.
And I'm so proud of you for doing that work, and that has made you the incredible person and incredible partner that you are to me. Very grateful for that. And similar to you, I've also had my own struggles with burnout when it comes to my career and not having a clear purpose, and also feeling disconnected in past relationships that were unhealthy, feeling like I lost myself in relationships that were unhealthy in nature.
Yeah, because that will do that. I mean, you'll lose touch within yourself. Sometimes when we're in a relationship that's not in alignment, we don't know what's right, what's wrong. We don't know what we really stand for. We don't know. We're so influenced and impacted by the other person's perception, or maybe they end up having a view of us that's different than the way that we view ourselves. And that continues to be fed. And then part that we really most enjoy or want to be, or that's important to us, of values, is that's not fed. And that's actually drained from.
Yeah.
And I think when you go through a hard relationship like that, you get to the other side of that, how important it is to refill that part of you. And so I know for me, I went through a divorce. I went through the loss of my father, my grandma. I went through building a company to 8 figures in revenue, and then watching that just managing 100 people and the stress during COVID of that and watching that just kind of dissipate in front of me and felt like there was nothing I could do to change it and just where that brought me to. And so what we did with Date Zero is we took these practices that we implemented that got us out both individually in our own journeys, and we implemented some of these things from some incredible books that we read, some other journals that we did, and we packaged that up and we put that here in Date Zero.
Yeah, and it's also a reminder that you don't have to wait until you're burnt out from your corporate job. You don't have to wait until you lose yourself in your relationship, that you can be proactive in working on yourself
Right.
and defining what's important to you, coming home to yourself before you get that. So our goal is to really help people shorten that time frame that they have to come home to themselves to really come back to their essence.
Yeah, because that's the thing is if you're not intentional, if you don't put like create a roadmap for yourself, right? Like you don't know what your purpose is, you don't know what your core values are, have a mantra, a creed. You're not intentionally daily putting in these practices, about being in alignment. Then if you don't go to the gym and work out, how do you build muscle? You have to put in the reps, right? And so I know a lot of people that, besides just our own journey, that have felt that way. And maybe you've had a loss of, a parent, or maybe you went through a divorce has been very difficult for you. We've had people that also have went through this journey, and the change and the impact that it creates and the reconnection that then attracts people into their lives has been really powerful. Super grateful for that.
Yeah, so am I. And it's a reminder that, we have all these relationships in our lives, but the one relationship that's going to be a constant is a relationship with ourselves.
Right.
So why not nurture that relationship, which will in turn allow us to show up better for every other relationship in our lives?
What are some of the practices that you found that we implemented in here that have been the most impactful? You've seen either with you or the feedback that we've gotten from, all the people that went through the journey.
Yeah, so there are a couple of key pillars of Date Zero, four in particular. I think the main one is really about self-discovery
Yeah.
and really defining what are your values, what's important to you, what does a meaningful life look like to you, what are your non-negotiables, how do you want to be remembered. So it's really about getting clarity on who you are as a person and what's important to you. Next, we have gratitude. So we have that. That's like the huge part of this journal is gratitude. I would say that's
That's
like the
Gynergy,
foundation.
baby. Yeah.
And it's not just about writing things that you're grateful for, but it's also about taking action with gratitude. So we have what we call DGAs, daily gratitude actions. We have this daily prompts where you're doing small but meaningful acts of service for others, whether it's thinking about someone that made a positive impact in your life and calling them to let them know, sending flowers to someone you love, or opening a door for a stranger, cooking for your partner, just little acts of gratitude every day to just cultivate gratitude into your daily lives.
And what is the power of that? So let's the DGAs is such a impactful thing that we came, like we're just
Yeah,
inspired to create.
I think that's a core differentiator between from Date Zero from other journals is that a lot of other journals are a little more passive and they're just writing things down, but Date Zero takes it a step further to actually take action with gratitude.
Yeah, it's not just a journal; it's more of an experience.
It's more of an experience. Yeah, it's a system. It's a tool.
Yeah, the other fun part too is with that we gamified it, so you get points when you're doing it. It's kind of like Duolingo, or you do the app where you
And
you know
Garin
have a
loves anything that's
leaderboard.
gamified. He's very
Yeah, I love
competitive,
it.
so of course everything, it's not everything in there is going to be some gamification component.
So if you want to compete with me, let's go. We'll get after it. But I love that premise of the DGAs because that's how we're going to create that ripple effect that we desire to create is through everyday taking action through
Yeah. And it
gratitude.
doesn't have to be any grand gesture. You don't have to go out of your way and spend, tons of
Right.
money. You can literally cook something for your partner, send flowers to your mom, do something small but meaningful that goes a long way. And it's just a reminder of the gratitude for those who show up for you, for yourself. Even there's a DGA to write a thank you letter to yourself. So it's not just about gratitude for others, it's gratitude for you.
So when we're talking about gratitude, right? That's like everybody hears about gratitude, oh, that's great. Why do I want to, what does it benefit me to go do all these different things? Like what shift happens when somebody starts taking consistent action around gratitude? What do you see?
So when you cultivate gratitude in your lives every day, you're rewiring your brain to focus on abundance and what is going right, what you're grateful for, what is good in your life, rather than having a mindset of scarcity and focusing on what's going wrong, what feels heavy and difficult. So by doing that every day and not just writing it down, but also taking action, you're rewiring your brain to be in the state of abundance that will in turn attract more abundance and good things into your life.
I love that. Yeah, that's what I found is reprogramming. Because sometimes we get like, I've been in this place where it's like, it almost felt like no matter what I did, I couldn't win. Like I just had this block that would just some sort of self sabotage, whatever. It's just the vibration that I was, trending at, that frequency just was not in alignment with abundance and me being successful. And that's what I found with these DGAs, with taking action through gratitude. It allowed me to reprogram my mind. So when I felt stuck, it was like it knocked down that wall and it finally broke me free of that. And it reprogrammed myself with creating little wins every single day that not just was a win for me, but actually created an impact in somebody else's life in some other way that creates a ripple effect. And the thing that happens when you create a ripple effect is really incredible is that ripple goes out and it goes. But at some point, just like how that wave, it goes out, boom, it bounces back. And now that wave starts coming back to you. And that coming back to you is abundance. Or if you're not in the gratitude aspect and you're putting out negativity and you're, not in alignment with your values, what comes back is scarcity, is pain, is those other things. So that truly is a visual. I mean, think about that right now is that wave, like that ripple, it goes out, it hits, the land and then it bounces back and it actually comes back to you.
It's almost like a mirror where you see whatever you're putting out there is going to be reflected back to you. If you're putting out good energy, good intentions, abundance, you're going to receive more of that into your life. But if you're putting out negativity, complaining, scarcity, you're going to receive more of that back into your life.
And our whole goal, our mission is to make gratitude cool.
Yeah, because gratitude is cool.
Yeah, it is. I love gratitude. It's the best. I always say gratitude is a currency in itself. Especially as things evolve in life. You have AI. They always say the cost of stuff's going to go down. Then what really is a currency? And if you're able to consciously make an impact in people's lives or do these things to create that ripple effect that comes back to you. I mean, if you just look at that as currency, if that's the way that it works to position it for you, it's a powerful, powerful currency to create.
Yeah, I agree. It's the
or
greatest
deposits
form
in the bank.
Exchange of energies.
Yeah.
Gratitude. That's why you're the gratitude Garin.
Gratitude Garin. Let's go. It's all the pain that I've been through in my life that, and I broken my neck, my back, almost had my arm amputated, had growing up, my childhood was very difficult, had some really, big ups and downs in life, some high highs and some low lows. And gratitude is a part that really has been the catalyst to allow me to overcome things that when I've watched other people, they may not necessarily have been able to overcome. But they're capable of it, but shifting the mindset of here's a full picture. Let me not get caught up into this one part of it right here. Let me be able to zoom out 30,000 feet and be able to see life as a whole and really focus in on the things that maybe I just take for granted. And maybe you're in a relationship and that becomes tough, but you're forgetting about the great food that's cooked, the way that you're taking care of the laundry or whatever it may be, right? Whatever you guys share, we just start taking sometimes that stuff for granted. And so when we're able to come from a place of gratitude, I mean, just us having as simple as water, electricity, because when we go down to Mexico and we build houses for these families, they're grateful just for what they have down there. And then we build a house and they still don't even have some of the amenities that we have, but they are so happy just to have family. They're so happy for what they have, those blessings. We don't need that much.
It's true. And that takes us to our last pillar, which is service.
Yeah.
And service being one of the greatest forms of finding yourself, getting clear in your purpose, and really coming home to yourself. And we talk about this often. We go down to Mexico to build a house for families in need. And when we go down there, as much as we're giving to them, we're also receiving so much. And for me, I've never felt so more clear on my purpose than when I'm down there, when I see, wow, there's these kids that have almost nothing, but they're so grateful for everything they get. If we feed them, a plate of food, if we give them a toy, they're just extremely grateful. And they're also grateful to be spending time with their families. They're not worried about, you know, our first world problems that we sometimes stress about.
Yeah, it really puts that in perspective when we're have some sort of heavy weight that we think is like that's this big part that is holding us back from really being able to enjoy life, or like really being able to have a strong relationship with somebody, whether it's a friend, family member, whatever it may be. And then you go down to Mexico and it really shifts as far as, okay, well, would I put so much weight around the way I perceive something? I say perspective versus perception. It gives you such different perspective when you go and you witness that outside of your normal, like we get caught up in our own ecosystem, our own environment. And when we're pulled out of that and set somewhere else, that we can see things from a different lens, it shifts our whole perspective, which then changes our perception. And so that is a big part to me with the service retreat, what the Date Zero journal does, and that gratitude experience.
Yeah, and it helps you connect to a bigger why. So we're in this world. Sometimes we get caught in autopilot, just worrying about our own problems, our own issues, our own lives. But going out of that, it takes you out of that environment to really see there's a bigger why, and there's something that's much bigger than us, and that will in turn give you a greater sense of purpose, greater sense of fulfillment.
Right.
What I found when I got caught up, just focused on moving up the corporate ladder, I felt very disconnected from my purpose. I felt it wasn't fulfilling. At the end of the day, I felt like, why am I doing this? Like, what is it really doing? So when I go down there, really like, wow, I see there's a bigger purpose, there's a bigger why.
Yeah, 100%. That's a beautiful thing. There's also another part of the journal which has the weekly challenges. So we developed some very specific weekly challenges based on some stuff that we've experienced in our life. And this journal isn't just based on, we didn't go to college studying this stuff. We're not a PhD in this stuff. That's not where we have gained our experience from. And I just want to be 100% clear about that I don't ever claim to be, Huberman or anything like that. Where we are and where I am particularly is I've had like 5 lives within one life. And I've been through an incredible amount of, experiences, and I'm grateful for all of it. And they've all taught me so many different lessons as far as what the human experience is. And I've had different tools that I've learned, and I read books constantly, and that I've been able to pick up, apply, and then together we're able to come up with some of these things that have been very impactful that we've, taken from different concepts. And we applied it here in a journey that we had know for us has been very impactful. And it's also proven to be very impactful with other people. And I think it'd be a good time to maybe show a couple clips of people's experiences and stuff like that.
My experience with the Date Zero coaching program, the best way to describe it is it's kind of like you're compelled to step out of the matrix. You're doing it with people.
Great, happy, positive, kind people.
You're all stepping out and looking around and becoming more mindful and self-aware and how to improve that experience. And what separates this from a lot of other books is DGAs. It's always something like, what can you do to influence something or someone in the world in a positive way? Small little things, you never know the impact you're going to have.
My cup feels a lot more filled, and I feel a lot more intentional about the life that I'm actually creating by using this journal and also by leveraging the program.
Really enjoyed the experience. I highly encourage you to check it out and go through the program because you're doing it with people, some great coaches.
That was so incredible. It's been so incredible watching the impact that it's had with people. It's so inspiring. It just reaffirms what we're doing. Who would you say that this is, when we're talking about who it's for, I think we've touched on it a little bit, but specifically, if somebody's like thinking about doing it, who is that person? Why should they do it?
So this is for anyone who's feeling disconnected from themselves, their relationship, or their purpose. Whether you're in a relationship, single, divorced, about to get married.
So it doesn't matter if
doesn't
they're
matter.
single or in a relationship, because a lot of people think, oh, it's a
Yeah.
dating book. It
A lot of
needs
people
couples.
think, you don't have to be in a relationship. It's not just for couples. It's really an individual journey that you can embark on, whether you're single or in a relationship.
Okay.
And really, it's for those who maybe have achieved success in their careers, their business, but they're feeling disconnected from their purpose, from their relationship. It's for the busy entrepreneur who's built the business, who's built a success, who feels in alignment maybe in some areas, but feels out of alignment when it comes to the connection with themselves, with their partner, or who are struggling to attract that person, struggling to become that person who attracts the partner that they're looking for.
Yeah.
It's also for someone who maybe has been in an unhealthy relationship or has a pattern of attracting partners that are unhealthy and out of alignment with them. And maybe it's a time to take a step back and be like, okay, what is it about me, or why am I attracting these relationships that are out of alignment? And taking a hard look at yourself and being like, what do I value? What do I want? Someone who is seeking clarity for who they are as a person and what they want in a relationship.
Yeah, I would say that those are big key takeaways. And it's funny because the emphasis that you have may be a little bit different than the emphasis I have. And I agree with all of those because we see these people coming in and the impact that it's creating. Also, we have a lot of friends that are in similar situations that are just incredible people, and they're high achievers, but they haven't been focusing on the internal journey. They've been focused on everything around them. I would also say, like, if you just experience a loss, maybe of a, like when my father died, but somebody that's important and impactful passed away, and you're dealing with that, kind of, it's almost like after that happens, it's like a rebirth in a way. Your perspective, your understanding of life. When your parent passes away, that happens. It's part of the human experience. It's part of that process. But there is definitely a shift that happens when that goes on, that at least I experience and people I've talked to. The other one I would say too, if there's a different life change, maybe a divorce, maybe something else has happened, and you just know that life, and now you're walking into a new life, this is a great start for that to help propel you through it.
I agree. So whether you're in a
You're firm.
transition or just looking to connect with yourself at a deeper level.
And so we don't just do the individual. So this is obviously the journal, and you can see it's beautiful journal. You can put it on your table. It's beautifully written out. There's all kinds of QR codes that has our coaching and everything in it as well. But it also, I think, really where we see a huge part of the impact is not just doing it individually, but doing it as part of the group that goes through it. Because there's a study that says 80% higher adoption rate when you start a new habit with a community. And so I would highly recommend, if you're thinking about doing the journal, I mean, if you don't want to do it as a group, definitely do the journal individually. But if you have some history of maybe having trouble of starting things but not seeing them all the way through, I think everybody has at some point, or maybe you're the exception to that and you're all about it, then power to you.
So let's dive deeper into what the group coaching looks like. So we have built a whole experience around this journal. It's not just a journal, but we have a whole coaching experience. It's a 45-day immersive journey where we meet once a week with a group. And it's we purposely keep the group smaller. So it's typically 20 to 25 people. We meet once a week and we go over reflections, takeaways from our experience individually going through the journey. We do experience shares. And then at the end of the journey, we also have the opportunity to go down to volunteer and build a house in Mexico and be part of this service retreat, where it's not just building the house, but we're going down to orphanages, doing breath work, meditation, and bonding with everyone that you just went on this 45-day journey with.
Yeah. And why it's so powerful is because you walk away going through this journey with a group of people that you start strangers, and at the end you look around and it feels like your family. And so that bond and that relationship that you establish, because you're doing it in such a powerful way, especially ending with that service retreat.
Especially when you're going through a transitional phase of your life, when you're going through hardship, overcoming adversity. sometimes those experiences can feel really isolating. You can feel like you're alone. So by going through this program with other people, you start to realize that everybody else is going through something. It may not be the same thing, but for us, different as we are, we're so much more alike. Everybody's craving connection and community.
And then starting to build new habits, in your life that maybe are more in alignment with the results that you want. One of those new habits that we developed is we rarely ever drink, right? We go out sometimes.
We don't drink at all
maybe
this
drink
year.
or not.
We've been sober for 6 months.
And that's what I was getting to. So
Okay.
it's like it's
Okay,
like
wait,
when,
we don't ever drink. We don't
no,
drink at all.
I was talking about before,
Yeah.
right? So then we made a decision this year, starting January, that we're just made a decision to take drinking off the table altogether. So did a non-negotiable, just clearly said we're not drinking this year. And it's been an incredible decision. It hasn't been difficult. What it does is it gave us clarity on when we're going out. It's not, oh, should we drink? Should we not? Or maybe I'll have one. And then it turned to 5. It was, no, we don't.
Yeah, no, it took the decision off the table. So now when we go out, we're also able to show up more fully as ourselves. And I feel like now I have a greater capacity to enjoy myself without drinking. Where in the past I felt like maybe I was more fun or more social when I had a drink. But now I no longer feel that way. I no longer feel like the need to have the drink. And I feel more energetic. The next day I wake up full of energy. I'm not tired. I'm not like as depressed. 'Cause sometimes the day after you feel a little like, your IQ's lower. You feel a little depressed. So none of those day after symptoms. It's great to wake up full of energy, clear-headed.
Right, clear-headed and conscious about what we're doing.
It's all about being intentional
Right.
with your habits, your routines.
Yeah, I mean, we did the same thing with TV too. We didn't have a TV for a year and a half. And I found that, where you just immerse yourself in cutting the things that aren't in alignment. But it really gets clear when you go through this journey with Date Zero, and just super grateful for what we put together. One thing that I think is really important about the 45-day journey to understand is we have all these incredible weekly challenges. One's writing your eulogy, which is incredibly impactful. One's doing the My Journey, which is, really identifying each areas of your life and what really matters around
What
that.
is the eulogy exercise? Just
It's really identifying and being connected with one of the most powerful parts of our story that's written isn't written by us. It's written after we die, and that's our eulogy. And what is it that we want people to remember us by, and what do we want written on those pages? And if you think about the end in mind, and then you can build your life all the way through, it's a really powerful way to live your life and implement it. And it doesn't do anything unless you adopt the habits that are consistent.
nothing gives you a perspective like death. So thinking about how you want to remember when you die is actually an extremely powerful way to reflect on how you want to live your life today.
Right. That's incredible, huh? That's why I live with no fear anymore, because I've almost died on multiple times. So that for me is like, okay, let's just do it. Like, do I usually have resistance to things?
No resistance, no fear. Sometimes I wish you had a little more. If I'm being honest.
You just got to go. We live one life, one moment. We never know when the last one's going to be. So let's just be fully in it. Just run it. Fuck it. That's the way I look at it. So all that is great. But if you don't do it day in, day out, and you don't reaffirm these habits, and you get disconnected from it, you're not going to continue on that path.
So with that, is this Date Zero journey, just to reinforce it, is this like a one-time thing? You go through 45 days and then you're good? Or is this something you keep going back to?
No, these are habits that you adopt from those 45 days on. And if you continue to implement those on a consistent basis, the whole way that you perceive life, the world around you, because that's really, everybody has their own individual perception of life and the human experience. And for every single person, it's a little bit different based on the thoughts that we have and what we allow into our ether in that way. So
it's really a toolkit for life. So it's
Right.
cultivating gratitude that you will take on with you and continue cultivating those habits, the breath work, the meditation, that prioritizing filling your cup, giving back, all of that.
And you know what I love about that is, like, you can go buy supplements and do all those things to help you be happier, to sleep better, whatever else. But you know the thing that's always free, that has impact across all levels and is scientifically studied and proven? Gratitude. So lead with gratitude. Your life changes. We hope you guys have enjoyed this episode about really our mission in Date Zero. If you guys are interested, you can go ahead and check out our website at gynergy.com, and you can enroll into our next Date Zero cohort, our next Date Zero program, or one after that. Be a part of the journey with us. It's 45 days, and we'll guide you through every step.
So if you're ready to deepen the most important relationship in your life, the one with yourself, join us for the Date Zero immersive experience.
We look forward to having you and creating that impact. You can go online. You can download a free 7-day gratitude guide.
And remember to share your first DGA and tag us on Instagram at the Gynergy Effect.
Let's go. We appreciate you being with us today. We can't wait for our next episode that rolls out. And we're so grateful to take this journey together. Let's go create ripples.
If this episode spoke to your soul,
share it with someone you love. Tag us at the Gynergy Effect. We love to connect.
and remember, your energy is your power. Use it with intention.